Today we will start with the structure of the skin. It is the integumentary system of our body, and here in this on this screen you can see the I have showing this diagram a section of the skin here, and this showing the main layers of the epidermis. So the epidermis is here. You can see this is the superficial layer. Below that there is a epidermis layers and the dermis layer. So the epidermis consists of the stratum corneum, then stratum lucidum, stratum granulosum, and germinative layer. And below that there is a dermis layer that is forming the base of our skin. So the first is what? The skin completely covers the body and is continuous with the membrane lining of the body orifices. So here what it do, the skin covers all of our surface of the body and it continues with the membranes lining of the body orifices. So wherever there is a opening also in your body, skin is continuous covering all the orifices too. So let us see the functions. What are the functions and what is its purpose of the skin here? Protects the underlying structures from injury and from invasion of microbes. Okay, so the, the skin prevents our body internal body structures from the injury and invasion of microbes, external attack of microbes. Then skin contains the sensory, that is the somatic nerve ending of pain and temperature and touch. So skin has the various sensation receptors present there, which are gives the sensation of pain, then temperature and touch sensation. Then the skin is involved in the regulation of body temperature. Skin is involved in the regulation of body temperature. So let us see our skin, structure of our skin. The diagram you can see here. You can take the screenshot for your reference purpose for understanding. So this is the two layers, epidermis and dermis, and again the epidermis is having the different layers, the stratum corneum, then stratum lucidum, then stratum granulosum, then germinative layer. So all this consists the our skin, structure of the skin. And what is the learning objectives of today's lecture? Let us see. After studying this, we will be able to describe the structure of the skin. So that means after studying this point, we will be able to answer the structure of our skin. So the skin has a surface area about 1.5 to 2 meters square in adult, and it contains glands, hairs, and nails. There are two main layers of the skin, that is epidermis and dermis. Between the skin and underlying structure, there is a layer of subcutaneous fat. So let us see the first layer of our skin, that is shown here, the epidermis. The epidermis is the most superficial layer of the skin. It is composed of keratinized stratified squamous epithelium and it contains four principal types of cells. These cells are keratinocytes, then melanocytes, then Langerhans cells, and Merkel cells. So here you can see in this diagram the different cells are present. These cells are nothing but the keratinocytes, then melanocytes, then Langerhans cells, and Merkel cells. So the first cell, that is keratinocytes, are about 90% of epidermal cells are keratinocytes arranged in 4 or 5 layers and produce the protein keratin. Then melanocytes, about 8% of epidermal cells are melanocytes and produce the pigment melanin. The melanin is a yellow, red, or brown black pigment that contributes the skin color and absorbs the damaging ultraviolet light. So here you can see the skin of color is affected by three main factors: the melanin, the dark pigment which is derived from amino acid tyrosine and secreted by the melanocytes cells in the deep germinative layer, and is the pigment that is get absorbed by the surrounding epithelial cell and gives the color to our skin. Hmm. So this is the melanocytes. The number of melanocytes is fairly constant. So the differences in color depend on the amount of melanin secreted. So here the melanocyte number is about 8% of our epidermal cells. But the secretion of melanin affect the skin color. So if the melanocyte secreting the more melanin, so the color will be different. Then the Langerhans cells, they arise from the red bone marrow and migrate to the epidermis and constitute a small fraction of epidermal cells. Then Merkel cells, these are the least numerous epidermal cells. They are located in the deepest layer of the epidermis. So in the epidermis, these are the four different types of cells present: Merkel cells, then keratinocytes, melanocytes, and Langerhans cells. The next layer of our skin is of the dermis layer. So the dermis is a tough and elastic. It is formed from connective tissue, and the matrix contains collagen fibers which are interlaced with the elastic fibers. The rupture of elastic fibers occurs when the skin is overstretched, that results in a permanent striae and stretch marks that may be found in the pregnancy and obesity. Collagen fibers bind water and give the skin its tensile strength, but as this ability declines with the age, the wrinkle develops. So dermis is the layer which have a capacity to uh, bind the water and give the skin a specific tensile strength or the stretchability. If the skin or the dermis layer is get overstretched, the permanent marks, stretch marks occur. That may be observed in the pregnancy and obesity condition. The collagen fibers have that capacity with the elastic fibers and gives the dermis a tensile strength. Then next, the dermis has the fibroblast, macrophages, and the mast cells which are found in the dermis. The underlying its deepest layer, there is a areolar tissue and various amounts of adipose tissue, that is fat is present. So which are the structures which are located in the dermis and associated in the dermis or the skin function? So blood vessels which are passing through our body, the network of blood vessel. The blood vessels are which are deeply situated like arteries are present in the dermis layer. Then lymph vessels, then sensory and somatic nerve endings, then sweat glands are situated or located in the dermis. Then hair follicles which are present and sebaceous glands are also present in the dermis layer. Okay. So here you can see it's the three-dimensional structure of the skin has been shown in the form of cube here. So this is the layer of our skin, the dermis layer here, and the various organs are the structures which are passing through these layers has been shown here. The epidermis is the upper layer, the dermis, and below that there is a subcutaneous tissue present. And in this dermis, you can see the hair follicles are growing here. The hair starting growing from the dermis layer, and it comes out of the on the surface. The hair follicle, the main root is present inside the dermis. Then the sweat glands which are located in the subcutaneous tissue, and the ducts of the sweat glands passing through the dermis to the surface of the skin and in the form of opening. Then here you can see again the blood vessels, the which are present in the subcutaneous tissue, and the some are supplying the blood supply to the skin surface, to the dermis, and which are passing through this the dermis layer and epidermis layer. So the surface epidermis do not have the supply of blood, but the dermis have the supply of blood vessels. So in this diagram you can see that clearly. So the sensory receptors which are present in the skin are like Meissner's corpuscle, then Pacinian corpuscle, then three nerve endings, and which are the types of stimulus they are responding to. The Meissner's corpuscle responding to light pressure, means if your skin has some amount of pressure, any certain light pressure also detected by these Meissner's corpuscle which are present in the skin. Then Pacinian corpuscle which are having the deep pressure stimulus sensitivity, and the prenerve endings can give the sensation of the pain. So these sensory receptors are present in the skin, have a very important role in the our sensation function. Then the sweat glands again, which are secreting the sweat on the surface of the skin, which are having the opening on the skin surface, in the regulation has a role in the regulation of body temperature. Why? Whenever our temperature of our body increases, the sweat gland secretes the sweat, and this sweat comes on the surface, and this sweat get evaporated on the body surface due to the heat, and it is giving the cooling effect to the body surface and maintain the temperature of our body. In the summer season, summer season, you can observe that kind of effect. You get excessive sweating in the summer, and that is very important for our temperature regulation. And this is governed and carried out by the hypothalamus, which is situated in the hypothalamus, the temperature regulating center. Hmm. So excessive sweat can also cause the dehydration and serious body sodium chloride depletion, because the sweat also secretes contains the sodium chloride molecules on the sweat, and they may lead to the dehydration by depleting the body fluid. So we need to increase uh, daily water intake whenever we are having the excessive sweating. The next part, which structure which is associated structure of our skin, is the hairs. So hairs are present on the surface of the skin, and which are originating from the dermis layer. The hair follicle grows and the hairs comes on the surface of the skin, which covers the over body, whole body surface. So at the base of the follicle is a cluster of cells called the bulb. The hair is formed by multiplication of cells of the bulb. As they are pushed upward away from their source of nutrition, the cells die and become keratinized. Okay, so from the bulb or the hair follicle, it is growing and it is moving away from that bulb or the origination center. It becomes the keratinized. Okay, so the part of the hair above the skin is a shaft, and the remainder is the root. The above the surface of the skin, it is called as the shaft, while inside the skin surface, it is called as the root. The color of the hair is genetically determined. So genetic variation occurs in the color of hairs and determined and depend on the amount of melanin present. So melanin, we also saw that a pigment which is secreted by the melanocytes. The secretion of this melanin also have a role in our color of the skin as well as the color of the hairs. So the white hair is a result of the replacement of melanin by the tiny air bubbles. So white hair is occurred due to the replacement of or decrease in the melanin secretion, and that causes the white hairs. The next is the erector pili. These are the little bundles of muscle fibers attached to the hair follicles inside our skin surface. Contraction makes the hair stand erect and raises the skin surface around the hair, causing the gush flash. So the hairs we also saw. Now this one next is the erector pili. These are the little bundles. We are going continuing with this. The contraction makes the hair stand erect and raises the skin around the hair, causing goose flesh. The muscles are stimulated by sympathetic nerve fibers in response to the fear and cold. So erect hairs can trap air, which acts as a insulating layer, and this is an efficient warming mechanism, especially when accompanied by the shivering, that is the involuntary contraction of the skeletal muscle. So this erector pili is very important in the function of the maintaining the body temperature. When we are having the shivering, this erector pili traps the air and acts as an insulating layer from the external environment. This here you can see the erector pili muscle is there, and this erector pili muscle action is under the involuntary control. It is not in our willpower control. So that is giving the warming of our skin in the shivering effect. Then next is the nails. The nails, you all know, this is the nail which are at the end of our fingers and having the surface covering. The nails in human beings are equivalent to the claws, horns, and hooves in animals. So as the evolution takes place, the horns and hair, claws and horns and hooves in the animals becomes in the nails in the human beings. They are derived from the same cells as epidermis has been derived. So they are having the keratin here. They are derived from the same surface or same cells that here and consist a hard horny keratin plate. Okay, they protect the tips of the fingers and toes. So in human beings, the nails are having the covering on the tips of the fingers and the toes, so thereby protecting the any damage to the tips whenever we are having the mechanical wear and tear. So nail diagram you can see here. This is showing the nail plate. Then this is the pre-edge. Then lanula, the half circle at the edge of our finger. This is the lanula and the cuticle, which is keeping the nail intact. The nail and the related skin, you can see the section if the section has been taken. So this is the distal pharynx, the bone, and above that there is a this fibrofatty pad is present, and the nail is covering on the surface of this. The cuticle is there, then nail bed. The root of the nail is embedded in the skin, is covered by the cuticle and forms the hemispherical pale area called lanula. Here you can see this lanula. This is the lanula, the half hemispherical circle. The nail plate of the nail is exposed part, the above surface that has grown out of from the germinative zone of the epidermis called the nail bed. The fingernails grow more quickly than the toenails, and growth is quicker when the environmental temperature is high. So this is the nail, the accessory structures which are present in the skin. So let us see the functions of our skin. The first function, the protection. So first primary function of the skin is the protection. So the skin is waterproof that protects the deeper and more delicate structure. So what is mean by waterproof? Our skin do not get dissolved in water. So it is having a waterproofing and protects the internal organs from the external pressure, external attack of the microbes at much times. Non-specific defense mechanism through which the skin having the protection to inner organs. It acts as a barrier to the various invasion of the microbes. Then the skin, it acts as a barrier for the invasion through the chemicals. So whenever we have any kind of burns, it is restrict somehow. It protect first barrier creates the barrier by the skin so that the internal delicate organ shall not get damaged. Then the chemicals, whenever you have any exposure to chemical, this only the external skin can get damaged sometimes, and keeps the intact structure of internal organs. Then physical agents like mild trauma, ultraviolet light. The ultraviolet lights are get absorbed by the melanin, and it protects the internal organs from the damage of that ultraviolet rays. The skin also protects the through the by dehydration. Depending on the external environment, the skin adapts. Whenever there is a temperature change, the skin uh, prevents the loss of water through the body and prevents it from the dehydration. Then the dermis contains the specialized immune cells called Langerhans cells that we all saw, that Langerhans cells are present in the dermis. They act as a phagocytes uh, and engulf the various antigens which are coming in the vicinity. The T lymphocytes, the stimulating the immune response. The Langerhans cells has the immune response in our skin. Due to the presence of the sensory nerve endings in the skin, the body reacts by reflex action to unpleasant or painful stimuli, protecting it from the further injury. Then the skin has a main function as that of regulation of body temperature. It maintains our body temperature up to 37 degrees Celsius approximately, that is 98.6 degree Fahrenheit or 98.4 degree Fahrenheit. Okay, so this body temperature maintenance takes place by the our skin by increasing the sweating or decreasing the sweating. Then next, the heat production. The skin has a role in heat production. Whenever we are having the cold season, our body produces some heat. Then like due to the metabolic activity is in the form of heat, and most active organs chemically and physically produces the most heat. The principal organ involved are as follows: the muscles which are located in the skin, then liver which is having the capacity to produce the heat, and the digestive organs produce heat during peristalsis by by chemical reactions involved in the digestion. Then heat loss. So most organs produces the heat, and this small amount of the heat is lost in the expired air, urine, and the feces. Only the heat lost through the skin can be regulated to maintain the constant body temperature. There is no control over heat lost by the other host. So heat loss through the skin is affected by the difference between body and in the external environment temperature, the amount of the body surface exposed to the air, and the type of the clothes we wear. Depending on that, the heat loss is maintained. So how the heat loss takes place? The heat loss takes place by the evaporation. The body is cooled when the heat is used to convert the water in sweat to water vapor. Then next mechanism in the form of radiation. The exposed part of the body radiate heat away from the body. Then the next is the conduction. The cloths and the other objects in contact with the skin take up the heat. And the next is the convection. The convection, air passing through over exposed parts of the body is heated and rises. Cool air replaces it and convection currents are set up. Heat is also lost from the cloths by the convection. So all these are the mechanisms by which the heat is uh, lost. Then the body skin can control the body temperature through the maintenance by taking the nervous tissue or nervous system help by detecting the excessive increase in temperature or decreasing in temperature. The sensory stimulus passes to the nervous system and it increases the sweating and other things. By that way, it maintains or controls the body temperature. Hmm. So here you can see up to 0.25 to zero point 0.5 degrees Celsius, the sweat glands are stimulated to secrete the sweat. If the body temperature increased by 0.5 degrees Celsius, the sweat glands start activating and secretes the sweat. Then the next function is the formation of vitamin D in the exposure of the sunlight. The skin has the that 7D hydrocholesterol, that is a lipid based substance in the skin, and the ultraviolet light from the sun converts it to the vitamin D, and this circulates in the blood and is used with the calcium and phosphate in the formation and maintenance of the bone. So then next is the sensation. The sensory receptors which are present in the nerve endings which are present in the dermis have the sensations capacity of touch, pressure, temperature, or pain. Then absorption of various substances which are taken place through the skin. So whenever we are using the transdermal patches of drugs, hormones, then any other substance which are we are applying on the skin can be absorbed through the skin to the inside. Then excretion function of the skin in the form of sweat, it is excreting the sodium chloride in the sweat. Excessive sweating may lead to the um, low sodium levels. Sometimes it urea also get excreted in the sweat. Then aromatic substances are also get excreted to the skin surface. Okay, so all these are the functions of the skin. Okay, the next, so this is all about the skin.